How do you quickly establish yourself in a brand new space or market or niche that you're in? Well, that's what I want to answer today, because in the last 3 years, I've been able to take some new passion and some new interest in a hobby of mine and turn it into a YouTube channel that has nearly 1 million subscribers now. And not only that, I'm generating more revenue than ever. And beyond that, we're also able to bring the community together. And it's been so much fun and so fulfilling. And so whether you're wanting to start something completely brand new or kind of slowly move away from something that you're already involved with to move into something else, I want to give you some tips and strategies and some lessons learned along the way, because it definitely wasn't easy. But I've been in business for over 15 years now, been on YouTube since 2009. And so to take something in the past 3 years from scratch to where it is now, I mean, even Pokemon, the company, is even reaching out to me and sending me products early. I think we can all be authorities in our niche, so long as you learn these lessons that I'm about to share with you. So sit back, relax. My name is Pat Flynn. Let's talk about it. All right, first things first, you might think that if you're creating content for a certain space, the first step is to actually just create content. And it is good advice to create and just put it out there, not worry about perfection, and I think that's a big part of it as well. But before even creating anything, before even selecting a platform, before even putting pen to paper or finger to keyboard, the most important thing is to understand the nuances of the space that you're getting into. And when I got into Pokemon in 2020, I began to realize that there were a lot of little pockets and places in this niche of Pokemon, and I had to figure out where I wanted to come in and sort of plant myself. You know, if you're gonna be moving into a new neighborhood, for example, you wanna explore that neighborhood a little bit. You wanna be a part of it. Maybe rent an Airbnb and live there for a while, just kind of in rented space, so that you can determine whether or not it is actually somewhere you wanna live, or if you do live there, kind of what kinds of things can you provide? How are you gonna stand out? And so that was the first step, was to get into this space and just learn about it, right? To be a part of it, to join these communities. I was a moderator for certain channels. I was always watching other people when they were live. I was commenting on a lot of other people's videos and just learning. And just by being a part of the community, you can learn so much about what else this community might need. You also learn a lot about the kinds of things they love and the kinds of things they don't love. And you can incorporate those things into the platform or the content that you're creating yourself. Next, when creating content, and I'm gonna move a little bit just to mix it up a little bit, I think that's the lesson. You need to mix it up a little bit. So if you are involved in a community, you kind of know the rhythm and rhyme of what's going on in there, but fresh is always great. If you can create something fresh and brand new for your audience, that's gonna get an immediate sort of head turn, like, oh, whoa, that's different, right? So it's important before you get into any niche or market to ask yourself, well, what's gonna be different or unique about the things that you have to offer? At least hypothesize what those things would be, because that's gonna be your driving force into that space in a way to provide different kinds of value to them than what they already have access to. It kind of reminds me from back in the blogging days, there were so many new bloggers coming on board, and most of what they would do would just regurgitate information that was already shared. And it kind of worked for a little bit, but we're past the point now where information is sort of what is required. I think we need something a little bit different, and that's gonna be different for every space that you get involved with. So again, be a part of the community, figure out what is gonna be unique, and then experiment, test, try. So in the Pokemon space, one thing that I didn't see was a lot of good storytelling, a lot of hero's journey type archetypes within the content, right? I was seeing a lot of people opening packs. I was seeing a lot of people talk about prices. I was seeing a lot of people show off their collections. I didn't know a lot about prices. I didn't even have a collection, but what could I bring from my 15 plus years of business and more than 12 years on YouTube itself? Well, I knew good stories, and I know a good story when I see one, and I know how to tell a good story. I've told good stories on stage in some of my books, and I figured what kinds of stories would be interesting here in the Pokemon space. So then I got to the next step, which was to just create. And in the beginning of that journey, it's going to be really important to understand that actually quantity is pretty important. You might think that I would have said quality, and quality is important, but when you have that stance of what is going to be unique or different, and you put some quantity behind it, reps, if you will, only you can't help but get better and begin to understand and absorb data and information faster, right? That's why going more earlier is better. And once you find your voice, once you find out kind of where your audience and where YouTube or whatever platform favors the kinds of things you have to offer, then you can lean into those things. So in the beginning, it's going to be very much a spray and play kind of tactic, because you're not going to know exactly what's going to work. As long as you have that angle of better storytelling, for example, in my case, then okay, let's try different kinds of stories. So I tried some videos about, the history of Pokemon cards, and those did okay. I did some storytelling about certain mystery boxes, and those did okay. And it wasn't until certain mystery boxes had, for example, binders in them, that people started to really comment, and we saw the data. It was like the most replayed parts of videos were when people were putting their binders into some of these mystery boxes. So we said, hey, what if we just purchased people's collections that were binders and show those off? And that became a bucket on our channel. But today we have 3 binders from one single person's collection, and this may very well be the best collection that I've ever picked up. We didn't know that was going to be the case in the beginning, but that's what eventually happened. And then now we have this playlist of different collections that we buy, and we try to feature as many binders as possible, because that's something that the audience and YouTube said that they enjoyed, and I enjoyed that myself. Another thing we tried was the storytelling of a challenge. Can we complete a set within a certain period of time? I tried to complete a set called Brilliant Stars in 24 hours. I have less than 24 hours to finish this binder of Pokemon cards, or else.
Or else what, Pat?
Or else I lose all of these cards forever. And that video popped off like crazy. And so we leaned into that. Again, I didn't know in the beginning when I started the channel that particular video archetype was going to be one that would take off, but it absolutely did. And now we're on our, 7th or 8th binder challenge video, and they are a little bit of a chore to put together, but the audience loves it because it's something different, it's something unique. Every time we do one, we're improving. We even have like a character on the channel now. His name is Steve. It's literally just a clock. Actually, I'm going to show you. It's just a clock with googly eyes. And this character, Steve, has become a character on the channel. Steve. Yeah, he's a little upset because I didn't prepare him to be on camera today. But what I find really interesting is that in this community of Pokemon, and in every community I've been a part of, sharing a common language is really important. It's what makes that community stand out and different. It's what makes people feel like they're associated or even belong to something. And I wrote about this in my book, Superfans, the idea that it's just inherent in us as humans to want to and to feel like we need to belong to something. And when we see other people who are like us, and when we identify somebody as similar, we gravitate toward that. And it's our job as the content creator, and especially a community builder, to create those instances where people can connect. So this is why going live has become really key to build this community, and it's why people end up paying money to come and fly out to come to these community events so they can see and meet their friends in person. The common language and the things that show up in every video that people can recognize that are kind of insider, kind of hidden things that if you know kind of things, right? I think that's really key. And you can forcefully introduce some of those things. Like, hey, we introduced Steve in that way. And other times, certain things are just going to pop up kind of randomly, like this dish rag that became a part of the community because I opened a mystery box once and there was a dish rag inside. Dish rag? What? This from like the 1970s? Dare I smell this? I am so scared. And that became sort of an icon of the channel as well. So building community with the people that follow you is going to be really important because, yes, following you is one thing and that's where it starts. But when people see that there's other people like them too, that's where your brand rises based on the people who can find each other within it. Then, of course, there are the things about YouTube itself, if you're building on YouTube, obviously, that you need to understand. For example, the importance of titles and thumbnails. And if you start to look at some of the more recent thumbnails that we've had, they've been performing really, really well. I mean, right out of the gate, anywhere between 13 and 17% click-through rate. And yes, that is high because it's getting shared with our audience. But even over time, these things get clicked on quite a bit compared to my other channel. And the reason is because we're just putting effort into it. I mean, quite honestly, in fact, we met up with somebody named Jonathan that we met at an event once. He's like our thumbnail guy, and we get on a call for every single video about what that thumbnail is going to be about, right? Because as we've heard Mr. Beast say, it is so important to have that thumbnail and the title package figured out. We've also discovered that the first moments of a video are going to be really key because that's what hooks a person in. It's also what gets shown in the preview before a person even clicks, so that can help with click-through rate as well. But it also helps with retention, keeping people through that video as long as possible. And we've had some amazing successes recently with some of our videos in terms of keeping people watching till the end. And I think the storytelling, to wrap back to that, is an important aspect of this, right? So if there was one skill that I would recommend to you for building your audience, for creating something brand new to a space, it's tell better story. And if you don't have a story to tell, go and actually make that story happen, right? Have people follow along a journey that you're on. Have people understand the trials and tribulations that you're going through, the hard times, the challenges, but also the triumphs on the other side. These are the human kind of things that people want and absolutely crave these days that is missing, right? AI is here and it's just like dehumanizing things, and especially with content. And now there's just more regurgitated content out there than ever. So put the humanness into the stuff that you're doing. And whether it's on video or with audio in a conversation, or even with the written word in a blog or a newsletter, bring some human elements into this. And I promise you, the more you lean into that, and especially the vulnerabilities within that, the more likely it is you're going to stand out, the more differentiated you're going to be against your competition and the others that are out there. And honestly, the better connection you're going to have with your audience, and your audience will have with you. I hope you don't mind just the kind of raw answer for these questions that are coming in. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these. And if you happen to have a question that you want me to answer, pop it in the comment section below, because I got a lot to share. I've been doing this for a very long time, and I want you to have the same opportunities and do even better, because there's so many different kinds of ways to build an audience and build a community and generate revenue. I've done it all, and I want to share it with you. And so whatever it is, anything from e-commerce to building communities to sponsorships to advertising, podcasting, YouTube, I feel like I'm a pat of all trades, master of fun. So let's have some fun, hit subscribe, and we got a lot more to share. Cheers.